Hey Pokemon Masters, just before I begin, please make sure to click that link at the top of the description to head on over to my merch store. My merch store is closing down. Once I take a break from the channel, I'm going to wrap up the whole merch store. So get stuff while stocks last. Get yourself a present for yourself, a comfy one, or for a friend. Or get the Tree of Evolution poster. It's the last time I think it's going to be on sale. And with that, let's get on with this video. So one of my most popular videos this year was on the idea of a Legends Johto game. What would a Legends Johto game look like? I think it's the likely candidate of what's going to happen next, but so many people are talking about a Legends Unova game. So I wanted to put my hat in the ring and kind of really pitch an idea for a Legends Unova game that I don't think you'd expect. Because if we're doing Legends Unova this generation, then do you know what? We've got to tie it into these themes of Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. We can't let Paradox Pokemon go by the wayside. We need to focus on this idea of the past and the future. Because yes, while there are legends in the past, there will be legends that will be made in the future. And while the original Pokemon Black and White are about truth and ideals, I think this is one about destiny and choice. I think we should have a Pokemon Legends Unova game, a Pokemon Legends Kyurem game that is both set in the past and the future. Let me explain. Oh, and yeah, there's going to be beautiful Fakemon artwork, including some new Fakemon artwork by Alex Allen. Links to him always in the description. He's fantastic. This actually might be the last video of mine with new art by Alex Allen, which is so sad, at least for now. So yeah, anyway, here we go. In the original Legends game, we got time-space distortions. They were relatively localized to small areas across the overworld of Pokemon Legends Arceus, bringing with them Pokemon from the past and the future. But not just Pokemon, people as well. Ingo showed up, one of the many hints towards a Legends Unova game in the future, and also items. There were items that allow you to evolve your Pokemon that aren't natural to the hisuian worlds. Like, I don't think the link cable is natural to Hisui. So let's take that idea and expand it. Let's make the time-space distortions even bigger. Somehow, as a result of either Pokemon Legends Arceus or of the Paldea games, our next Unova game starts with you, a trainer in the Unova region in present day. And then a giant time-space distortion opens up over the entire region. From the Etrolink at the very center, the world of dreams unfolds and various areas across the Unova region begin to transform. Some of these areas appearing now as they did hundreds of years ago, and some of these areas split down the middle wherever the time-space distortion wants, set in the far, far future. This is kind of mostly inspired by Opaloosid City, the 8th gym city of the Unova region, which, depending on the version you play, black or white, is either sort of an old-fashioned, old-style town or a futuristic town. But imagine just take that town, split it down the middle, half and half, and then do that for the entire region. It might sound dumb at first, but I actually think there's so many ways in which this could work. Welcome to New Nova. Yeah, it's not Unova, New Nova, because it's New York and it's Unova, New Nova. You are in your hub area of Castelia. Castelia is about the only area that's managed to not be affected, and this is where our Pokemon Professor Juniper, I guess, is going to meet up with us, and they have 3 starting Pokemon. They're the same starting Pokemon you had in Pokemon Black and White and Black and White 2. Treat this as your Black and White 3 as well as a Legends game. It's the same old trio again, but much like how we got Mega Blaziken before we got Mega Swampert and Sceptile, so too did we get the sort of Hisuian old-timey Samurott before we got the old-timey versions of Emboar and Superior to go with. Now, I've already talked about these in other videos. I would say we're looking at a dark fire type for Emboar, but then I think the Samurott is already a dark water type. Maybe Superior becomes dark grass type. I don't know, but I've also suggested that Superior could be like Dragon Grass. So I don't know what we do about the Emboar. Anyway, I wanted to just spin on that idea the same way I did with Johto, where I used the Johto starters all. We're going to use all the Unova starters here. And Juniper mentions that as a result of issues with the time-space distortion, the starter Pokemon are behaving funny. Could you take them with you? And sure enough, as you take them on your adventure, they're going to evolve into these ancient forms of these Pokemon. As you travel across the various areas of the Unova region, there's the far east, the far west, the center of the region, and then the northern portion, you will come face to face with old-timey Knight Templars. You see, there's a man, they say, to the north in a castle. The castle you might know as En's Castle, who is the ancestor to Ghetsis. And this man claims he is the true king of the region. And yeah, probably he was hundreds of years ago, and these are his Knights Templars, the old Team Plasma. And they are heading across the region because, from their point of view, the future of Unova seems to have just spawned everywhere, and so they need to restore order on behalf of their ancient king. So these are your antagonists for the game. Over in the western area of Unova, that's everything from like Driftveil City or even Verbank up north to Icarus City. These areas are typically, I think, they feel a little bit more old-timey. I mean, certainly the Flossy Ranch does, although actually that's beginning to industrialize at the end of Black and White 2. And Icarus City certainly has, like, ancient roots with the Dragon Spiral Tower. Just flip it. So the Dragon Spiral Tower is now, like, a modernized, like, future skyscraper. Driftveil reverts back to, like, an old wasteland where Bouffalant roam. Wide grasslands, Driftveil has barely been built. The bridges stuck somewhere between the past and the future, making traversal around the region really quite hard. You have to help construct the bridges to literally bridge the past and the future. Verbank City and Flockacy Town launched into the future. The Pokestar Studios, now a whole Pokestars industry. The past and the future collide. Characters like Leon from Pokemon Legends Arceus can come back as they have perhaps settled in old Unova since the days of Hisui. Maybe characters like Clay will even get to meet their ancestors in the likes of Leon, which is obviously really weird because Leon is younger than Clay in their depictions, so you'll be meeting his great-great-great-great-grandfather when they were a kid. Opaloosa Town to the north, very much ripped between the past and the future. To the very far north, Ends Castle, and again, that's all old-timey. That's Ghetsis' base of operations. In the east, the Black City and White Forest are now, much like Opaloosa City, smack bang merged together. So you've got this big industrial skyscraper area kind of blended with this calm forest area. The two interwoven, the past and the future collided. Reversal Mountain, depending on whether you're playing Black 2 or White 2, is either full of magma or full of water. In this game, that whole area is literally half and half. Rivers of water flow into magma and then back round to water again. This is the world that the game is set in. And of course, all over the world trying to deal with the chaos and disorder are the Swords of Justice, both the originals and their paradox variants colliding with one another and doing great battle with each other. Amongst them all, a young lad called Z. This is the ancient ancestor version of N, who claims that he thought he was a prince, but he can't quite be sure who he is. This mysterious traveler holds with him a stone, a grey stone that you might know from the data files of the Pokemon games as the Godstone. It's the stone that supposedly would contain Kyurem, or a perfect original dragon version of Kyurem, much how the white stone contains Reshiram and the black stone Zekrom. And yeah, he's fascinated by the future parts of Unova and saddened by the past parts, and he can't quite put his finger on why, until eventually you do in fact interact with and bump into this Ghetsis ancestor character. This ancestor to Ghetsis will always be pretty confrontational. Not only are they annoyed that it seems to be the case that in your modern day Unova, there is no kingdom of Unova, it seems to have fallen apart, even in the far future areas that his plasma grunts, his Knights Templars have gone to investigate. There doesn't seem to be any sign of the monarchy. It seems that his kingdom will one day crumble if destiny plays out. But now he knows that that's the case, he has a choice. So he, with his new Team Plasma, are going to do absolutely everything by any means necessary to make sure that they have control of the past, present, and future, that they do rule forever by capturing the various Swords of Justice. I think that's probably his plan. I don't know, I haven't done all the writing on the story yet. But look, I also think it'd be really fun if there's an old school Ingo, like the same one from Legends Arceus, but also a future Emmett. Emmett also went through a wormhole and ended up in the future, and now that Unova is colliding, they're like searching for one another. And of course, throughout the game, you help them reunite. That's absolutely got to happen. And sure enough, eventually you will get to battle this ancient version of Ghetsis, this ancestor character. You'll learn the truth that there once was two kings in Unova, the King of Truth and the King of Ideal, brothers, and Ghetsis' brother was Zed. Ghetsis' ancestor and N's ancestor, they were related, they were brothers, until Ghetsis killed his brother and took the throne for himself. And this version of N, this ancestor character, is from a time before the Ghetsis ancestor murdered him and took his Godstone. So there are two Godstones going around at the same time. And also, this guy, this brother character, realizes that one day his brother is gonna murder him. This character of Zed tells you that there might be a way to stop Ghetsis, but if there's gonna be, it's gonna be to do with the ancient original dragon. But for that, you're gonna need to go to the Dragon Spiral Tower. But as I mentioned earlier, the Dragon Spiral Tower has been modernized into a future skyscraper. And while it's still got some significance, all of the old carvings, all of the information about the original dragon is gone, taken away and removed. They say you can learn about it in the Nakreen Museum, but Nakreen Town's museum isn't there. It's too far set back in the past. So all of the information about the original dragon in this version of Unova has been lost. Okay, this is where it's going to start getting really fan-fiction-y and really cheesy, but this is just the way that I want to do it. So, but yeah, I mean, screw it. Why not? There will probably be some version of Ancient Older from the, the hero from the Legends games. We'll learn more about that. Perhaps that trainer uses both a Volcarona from the future and the past. Those are the Paradox Volcaronas. Sure, whatever. Turns out, for whatever reason, Ghetsis already has the original dragon before it split. This is Reshiram, Kyurem, and Zekrom all fused together. You do battle with Ghetsis, but this Ghetsis character cannot control this Pokemon. And this Pokemon ultimately sends this Ghetsis ancestor running after removing his arm with Frostbite. With his remaining arm, this ancestor vows that one day his descendants will take over the Unova region and he will reclaim the kingdom that is rightfully his. And with that, he leaves. And now you're left with the problem of this original dragon, this original Kyurem. A three-headed monstrosity. But Z or Z or N, whatever you want to call them, points out that you have to have hope for the future. That the future is not set in stone, no matter what this Ghetsis character says. And there is a risk here that the original dragon will destroy the Unova, freeze it over, burn it, and then electrocute everything and everyone. But there might be a way of stopping it. I think there's something you could do with some time travel shenanigans where, because there's then this second Godstone, that perhaps like the bottom of the Dragon Spiral Tower, that bit is still set in the past, but it's the top, it's the rest of it that's all skyscraper. It's stuck between the past and the present. And so what he does is he buries his Godstone at the base of the Dragon Spiral Tower. And if you go back to the Dragon Spiral Tower and you go all the way to the top, you unlock a secret compartment where there is the God Stone. It's a artificially paradoxy version of the Godstone that has been there for thousands of years. Inside the foundation, moving, changing, and adapting with the times. And you can use it to summon a second version of the original dragon, but because it's paradoxy in future, it's not the original dragon, it's the final dragon. A paradoxy future version of the original dragon with three heads, the three heads of future Reshiram, Zekrom, and Kyurem. And when you ask this N ancestor, Z, how did you know this Pokemon would be there? You would just say that he had hope for the future when he buried the stone and left it behind, and that's all we can have. The future is not set in stone, we need to have hope. And so you use the final dragon to battle and capture the original dragon, and ultimately that causes the original dragon to separate into Kyurem, Zekrom, and Reshiram, and as it does, so do the past, future, and present separate and return to their original states of being. Yeah, that is super fan-fiction-y. That will never happen. But that's my idea for a Legends Unova game. I thought about it, and I really do think they need to just continue playing on this theme of past and future that has come with Scarlet and Violet, that's coming with the Paradox Pokemon, that's coming with the Indigo Disc. Let me know what you think about all of this absolute rambling in the comments down below. Thank you all so much for watching. Thank you for clicking the link at the top of the description to pick up your Tropical Festivities tee, or Tree of Evolution, or Team Snooze posters, or whatever else. The merch store is closing down and everything is limited stock. Once it's gone, it's gone. Thank you for your support. Thank you for watching. And of course, soar high, Pokemon Masters.
Hello there, it's me, Professor Oak. This video's over, so please choose another one wisely and quickly. Bye-bye.
Thank you anyone who has ever contributed through Patreon, and especially the big patrons of this month: Lucas Gates, Anthony Lee, Charmander Ansible, Wietse Dik, Pancake, Immortal Absol, and Jed Rubin. Thank you for your incredible support.